Let's go. And I am recording modern technology. I am with Mike Speirs, everybody. This is exciting.
We're doing it, man.
This is a Zoom, my first Zoom. I've been doing a lot of Zoom shows and stuff, but it's always someone else setting it up, and I just got to click.
Right.
You're more of an expert, right?
I don't know about expert, but yeah, I figured it out too. I'm not a big technology guy either, but
Well,
with me, I finally had to stop being afraid of it, and just when you do that, I think we're both smarter than we give ourselves credit for.
just a tiny bit though, not a whole lot.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I'm just like a slow, like late adopter kind of guy. Like I just like technology wise, and well, these days it moves so quickly. Like I'm in my 40s, girlfriend's in her 30s, and I feel like she's like a magician with some of the stuff that she does. It's just like, man, there's so much new stuff every day.
Yeah, that 10 years makes a big difference, like how they grew up versus how we grew up. And
Yeah.
it
was.
I didn't go on the internet till I was in college.
Exactly.
That's a dramatic difference from, even a couple years younger than me. Like,
it's a world of difference. I saw, it was our first date, actually. We were in New York, and we were at a concert, and then we were going to take a cab to a bar, and we got to our stop, a yellow cab in New York, and I went to pay, and she goes, no, I already paid. And no one had done, like, she hadn't handed anyone money. She hadn't done the credit card. I said, well, no one's paid. We got to pay. And even the cab driver was like, yeah, she paid. Get out of my car. Apparently it's some app where you just pay, and like, all the cab was en route. We paid, we tipped, we did everything. I was like, what are you talking about? So yeah. I feel like an idiot.
When you got the cab driver going, get with the times there, pal.
Exactly.
You got to start taking a hard look at yourself.
Well, greetings from Somerville, everybody. My guest today, Mike Speirs, a wonderful, lovely person who I met. Now, I met you through comedy, but the nature of this podcast, I've tried to make it, interesting people from all parts of my life who are doing interesting things, not just comedy, because obviously it's easy to say, oh, we're comics, let's chat. And we, funny enough, did do that on your podcast.
We did, yeah.
Which I loved, and I think I told all my good stories. So I have to turn the tables on you and get more about your life. But I do love that. Like sometimes as a comic, you're like, I felt so bad, like texting you, like, oh gosh, I just was a guest on his. Is he gonna mind? Like, just like, would you mind helping me with mine? But we're interesting people.
We are.
Well, I wanted to talk. You used to be a school teacher, and we won't dive right into that. But I think that's so fun and interesting, and I'd love to start from the beginning. Let's start from where you're from and your childhood and what it was like, and tell the people more about you.
So I grew up in Saugerties, New York.
Beautiful place, right?
You visit. Yeah, it's nice. The village of Saugerties, famous for Woodstock '94. Was you could hear the music from my front porch.
Is that right?
Yeah, nice place to grow up. So I know we're not talking comedy, but just an interesting fun fact.
You're allowed.
Jimmy Fallon is from Saugerties, class of 1992. I'm 97.
Fabulous.
And a guy, I don't know if you've ever heard of a guy named Eddie Feldman, who out in LA now, started as a stand-up comedian, went into the writing area, has written for Dennis Miller for years and years.
Yeah.
Has numerous Emmys, I think, as a writer for Dennis Miller. And so my claim to fame, I am the third best comedian from Saugerties, New York.
That is not such a bad credit, though, when you consider the guys ahead of you. Number 3.
Yeah.
You guys have reunions when you all get together?
Right. No, I don't know either of them personally. And yeah, I'm a distant third.
Well, you're number 1 in my heart. I always say I share a birthday with Johnny Depp, Michael J. Fox, and Natalie Portman. And every June 9th, I text them all and say, let's get together. They've never responded. So, it's a club we'll eventually be a part of.
I share a birthday with the United States Constitution, September 17th.
There you go. Well, who wins this contest? Jeez.
Yeah, not to one up you, but
I could make, if I was political, I could make some sort of political joke about how you're both, I don't know, locked in these days or something. I don't know. I don't know enough about politics.
Yeah, we're both past our prime,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah. There you go. Hey,
Hey,
there you
hey,
go.
see, teamwork. We're doing it.
Think we just wrote you a new joke. Well, what was it like? I've been up there, and it's funny because I grew up in New Jersey, and my parents are both from the Bronx. So all I knew about New York, literally as a kid, I thought New York was simply New York City. That's all there is. And we would come in once a year for the parade, the what do you call it, Thanksgiving parade. And so I saw New York City and the buildings and the concrete, and that was it. And then I never forget, like the first time I saw like support New York farmers. Like I was like, are they in Central Park? Like, where are these farmers? I didn't know there was an entire like state above me.
Can 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 you plant potatoes in concrete? I don't know
Yeah,
what we're talking about.
exactly. Are there cows roaming around the Upper East? But I mean, New York is truly, I mean, not just to be biased because I'm from the Northeast, but truly one of the most beautiful states.
Oh, it's insanely nice, especially like the town of Saugus where I grew up. I grew up in a village that's kind of it's not modern sub. It's kind of like old suburban feel,
Right.
and then there's rural parts of the township and whatever, and New York's like, but they're all over New York. I mean, you get out to the Finger Lakes, or do you ever get
Yeah.
way up by the Canadian border, like the Thousand Islands? It's
Yeah.
you know, it's insanely beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely insanely beautiful. That I don't think people that's one of my favorite things when I moved to New York City is that everybody who's like a city person and only knows New York City, they just refer to the whole rest of the state as upstate, as if it's all the same,
It's true.
as if it's all the same. When I moved into my apartment, I asked my landlord about garbage pickup, and she goes, well, no, that you put it out, Tuesdays and Fridays or whatever, and yeah, it's the city takes care. I didn't know if you had to pay for whatever, and she goes, how do they do it upstate? And I go, well, it depends on the town or city that you're in.
Right.
She just sort of looked at me like she didn't quite know what I meant, like by what town or city you're in. Like,
It's true. No, and you don't realize how vast it is too. I
it's a
mean,
huge state. It's an
yeah.
absolutely huge state. Like outside of but most of the population happens to be concentrated in like 8 square miles, Manhattan.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. Well, did you have like a charmed like a walk to school with the backpack, safe neighborhood lifestyle? Is it like the typical suburbs?
yeah, walk to school. 300 yards from my house where I grew up. There's a complex called Cantine Field, which me and my friends talk about now. We did not know how good we had it. It's beautiful. There's like uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I won't, but there's like 10 little league fields.
Oh,
Um, there's 2 full size baseball diamonds. There's one that the high school plays on, and that like now a kind of like a summer college
right.
league, like the best college players around play on. The Babe Ruth League field is like a full size diamond with. I mean,
Oh,
we're talking with lights and press boxes and like
yeah.
there's 2 basketball courts. There's 4 lighted tennis courts. There's
Oh,
soccer fields. There's 3 playgrounds. Like just insane. And we just yeah, I'm going down to the field like
right.
to play. Now and then I've seen like some of the other playgrounds and complexes in other towns, and it's like, oh my god, we didn't know
Now,
how,
yeah,
how, how great this was, how insanely good this was growing up.
that sounds amazing. Even now, to be able to walk down, see a game, a
Yeah,
little. I mean, that's
yeah,
fun.
yeah. It's great.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
I
yeah. It
love
was good. It was for everybody that like, oh, I can't wait to get out of this place. It's like we had it all right
we
growing up.
did, and well, nowadays, right? Everything seems to me. I can't wait to go to a deli. I just,
Right.
just anything sounds amazing. So, were you a good student? Start
No,
finding out about your interest. No, okay,
absolutely not. I was an insanely lazy student. I was the classic not working to potential.
I love
You
it.
know, so here's the thing. I know we're going to talk about me being a teacher. There's the thing you do in parent conferences where you go, oh, he's so smart. She's so smart, has so much potential. And you don't really mean it, but like they could be doing better if they tried a little harder. I think my teachers meant it, like, oh, he's very bright and he could be doing, but I was just so insanely lazy in school. I got it together a little bit senior year because I decided I didn't want to be grounded all the time.
Right.
Uh, and I wanted to enjoy my senior year. And then I went to college, and I started out just going to the local community college. And my parents kind of were like, "Okay, you got like a semester, and if you continue with your lazy, like we're not paying for this kind of."
Right.
And I made the dean's list every semester at community college, and then I went to Siena College for my last 2 years in just outside Albany, and,
Okay.
and got my bachelor's there. Went on to grad school in the Albany area as well. And
So you weren't a bad kid, though. You weren't like getting into trouble or drinking in the woods per se. You were just
I was doing some drinking in the woods. Oh yeah, like
okay.
no, a bad kid. No, I mean just doing normal kind of '90s high school. Yeah, I mean yeah, we had some keg parties in the woods, and yeah, I got my drinking career started a little early, like around 15.
Oh wow, that is
You
early.
know, here's the thing though. Most of my friends that I grew up with, I was young for my class.
Right.
So most of my friends in my class were like a solid year older than me. And then a lot of the kids that just lived proximity to me in my neighborhood
Right.
were a grade ahead of me or even 2 grades.
Okay.
So I'm 15 and I'm hanging out with a lot of 16, 17, even 18-year olds.
Ah,
So I'm
okay.
just kind of doing what they're doing. And
Exactly.
yeah, I had a really solid drinking career from like 15 to 25. I had a good
Okay.
10
Okay.
year run.
You were early. You were an early prodigy.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And then did
But,
you retire?
yeah, I kind of retired when I started doing stand up because
Okay.
I used to black out drinking a lot
That'll
and then
do it.
have to do that little detective game where you figure out what
Piece
happened the
it
night
together.
before. And I didn't want to be doing that the night after shows and then be like, oh, did I hit on the manager's daughter that works the door, or like what did
That that's a smart move. I always used to have
I
to
was
do
kind of grown out of
the
it.
receipts in the pockets was always the thing. Like because back
Yeah,
in now with iPhones and everything, but it wasn't like that. You had you had to look at either get a cab receipt at what time was the receipt. I mean now it's
yeah,
all digital. It's not hard
yeah.
to
Oh,
figure out.
apparently we went to Denny's last night. Maybe it's time to pull that out of here.
Exactly.
I got a Denny's napkin and a receipt in my pocket here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you then get from not a bad kid, but not necessarily pursuing school that fervently? You turn things around, and then at what point do you say maybe I'll be a teacher?
I kind of always knew I wanted to do that. I got a lot of teachers in my family. My dad's got two brothers that were teachers, and one of them was married to a teacher. My mom has two siblings that were teachers, and I probably started off like looking at that as a career because like, hey, you get summers off and snow days and all these vacations, like all the bad reasons, like because I was just a lazy kid, and then um, I kind of always knew though, like even when I like wasn't doing well in school, that like, well, I'll eventually just sort of get this together and I'll be fine, which I did. Like I said, when I went to college, but that was sort of always on the radar of like I wanted to be a teacher. So yeah, when I started community college, I wanted to be a social studies teacher. So I was taking, I was liberal arts and doing all the history courses
Okay.
and knocking out any of the requirements I needed to early. And then yeah, went to undergrad, majored in history, took all the education courses, and then decided I was going to go to grad school and just do it all. I didn't want to be like teaching and like then trying to get my master's, and I just
Okay.
decided to do it all in one shot. I probably wasn't quite ready, wasn't quite mature enough to actually, be in charge of a class of kids at 22. That like extra 2 years of grad school probably was good for me. So
Nice.
yeah, I got my master's, just got lucky, got the first teaching job I interviewed for, and
Did you really?
yeah, randomly
Was
I was
this hold
in.
on? Was this like your legacy or
No, no. Good,
favoritism going on?
good story of total luck. I was in the library of the Sage colleges where I went to grad school, working on like a project with another girl that was in my graduate program. We were both student teaching at the time, and we were talking about different lesson plans we'd been doing.
Right.
And this woman who named Liz Maloney, who wound up being one of my colleagues, comes over. She lived across the street, so she used to come over and use the computer lab there. And she goes, "Hey, you guys, social studies teachers, you looking for jobs? We're hiring at my school, and you guys sound so creative, and you sound so like." And she went, and it just showed how much things have changed since 2003. She went into her school the next day and told the assistant principal, "Hey, there's this guy. I got his information, and I want him interviewed." And they were like, "All right, tell him to apply." So
Jeez.
like, I emailed her, and then she said, "Yeah, call the main office." I called the main office, and they scheduled me for an interview. I didn't even have an application in yet, and like I had to scramble. I ran around and got a suit, and then like got ready, and I went in, and like tell me if you've ever heard of this before. I interviewed for a teaching job, and at the end of the interview, I gave them like my portfolio with my resume and sample lesson plans and blah blah blah, and they were like, "Oh yeah, and we need you to go online and fill out an application." it was so completely backwards.
You're applying to Denny's.
That yeah, right, yeah, and so anyway, long story short, I don't get the job.
Huh.
They had 4 jobs open. I don't get one, and I'm like, how could you never hear of that, by the way, a school having 4 social studies jobs in one year?
What happened?
So they had done like an incentive like buyout for some older teachers to go. And
right.
so anyway,
it sounded like there was an incident on a field trip or something.
Right,
what happened to all the
social
social studies?
There was a plane crash.
Yeah.
And,
jeez.
but like, yeah, one girl had already been like filling a maternity leave there, so she was kind of in. One guy, his sister already taught in the building, and they knew him, and he was great and deserved the job anyway. Right. One guy who's now the principal of the building had done like his student teaching there, so they loved him. And then another girl was moving over from English. She was dual certified. So it was sort of like they kind of already had their 4 candidates, but they were like, we really liked you, and we're going to keep you in mind, like if anything else opens up. And I was like, well, you just filled 4. I doubt you're going to. So weeks later, I get a call from the assistant principal at like 7 a.m. And I'm thinking it's because he's going to tell me when I can come pick my portfolio up because I had other interviews.
Right.
And this idiot's calling me at 7 a.m. to get like they already didn't give me the job. Now he has to wake me up.
Yeah.
I think I'd been out. I think I'd been out the night before. I'm hungover. And he goes, "Hey, I got a job for you." And I go, I was like hungover, out like a light. I go, "Doing what?" And he goes, "Teaching social studies, 7th grade." And I go, "Oh." And he goes, "Well, do you want it?" I went, "Yeah, cool." And he went, "I woke you up, didn't I?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And he was like, "All right, sorry. I just wanted to get this off my plate. Like, you're in. It's yours. Like, we'll talk soon. You'll get a package from us from the district office and stuff." So I went out and I told my roommates and I called my mother. And then I went back to bed, and then I got up at like 10 o'clock, and I called my roommates again at work to be like, "Did I dream that, or did I tell you guys this morning?" They were like, "No, you got, Turned out the one girl decided to like move with her. Her husband got a job out of state or something. So like one opened up. So they weren't lying to me. They liked me. It just was like, it was the most bizarre way ever of like.
That does not sound like the traditional "I was born to be a teacher" move.
Yeah, but
and social studies seemed to choose you. You didn't really.
Yeah.
You weren't okay. It wasn't a zeal that you had for it.
Oh no, I love social. I mean, that's what I was certified in. I was a history major, but just the way that I stumbled into that job of like, because you come out and it's like, now I got to apply. There's limited teaching. There's limited. I'm gonna wind up subbing another year. Like, all right, let's hope we get lucky. And then and I always say, 10 minutes before that girl came over, that girl Liz Maloney came over and asked if we were social studies. Me and that girl in my grad class, we'd been talking about NYPD Blue. Like, he could have easily overheard that conversation.
Asked if you wanted to be a cop.
Yeah, because we were both NYPD Blue fans, and we've been talking about that week's episode.
Oh, that is
so
funny.
Like just timing and circumstances, but.
Well, it does. I mean, it does sound random to a degree, but also, like you said, a little meant to be, perhaps.
Yeah.
And you did stumble into the job, as we say, literally. And you always hear that. Where are teachers ever hungover? Does it mean the old joke? It means that it's a movie day. Did you ever have a real rough morning back in the day when you were teaching, where you say, "Oh boy, how do we get through this day?"
Not really. See, like when I was teaching there, we had what's called block scheduling. Okay. So it wasn't the traditional like 9-period day of 40-minute classes or whatever. You saw your classes every other day, but so we had 80-minute classes. So there wasn't.
What grade are we talking?
7th grade.
Okay, wow.
So you had to mix it. You had to mix it up, and I thought it was great, but like there was no like, "Hey, we're watching this half-hour video today," and then talk amongst yourselves for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But there were definitely. So 2 things. There were definitely Monday mornings where I came into school after like a long weekend of drinking and thought to myself, this is early on, the first couple of years I was teaching, where I came in and thought to myself, it's good to be back here. I need some structure.
Right.
when I'm left to my own devices on the weekend, I'm not making good decisions.
The wheels come off quickly.
And the other thing is, I used to always sign up to chaperone dances if there
Okay.
were openings because they'd pay you cash. They'd pay you right out of the ticket money that they collected. So I think it
Okay.
was like $50, and so you'd get like 10 $5 bills, from
Right.
10 seventh graders that paid $5 for their tickets, and they'd hand you an envelope with $50. The dance was over at 9. I'd I'd be home at 9:30, and my roommates and all my buddies would be at our apartment drinking already. And I'd have $50 to go out, cash to go out with that night, and I'd
You're
start
using
drinking. I'd start drinking with them to catch up, and yeah, we'd head out at like 11. Yeah, so
using the children's money to go boozing.
yeah, so that night's booze was the proceeds of the children of Averill Park, New York.
Do you have any students that you kept in touch with? You still know what they're up to?
Yeah, quite a few actually. I'm Facebook friends, or
Right.
follow me on Instagram now. When I was still teaching, I never accepted,
Yeah.
like a lot of them, they'd get to high school and then they fade. But once I got out of teaching, so it's wild. I see kids at shows if I'm back up in the
Oh, that's
capital
cool.
region, and like my oldest kids now are 30,
Oh, wow. That
which
is
is
crazy.
insane to me because
They're
like
adults.
my first year I had an 8th grade class, so those kids were 13 or 14. That was 2003, 2004.
Wow.
And then
Yeah.
it's funny because they start doing some math. Like one girl was at a show of mine, and I mentioned turning 40. She goes, I just figured it out. So you were only like 23 when you were my teacher? I said, yeah. Like I was 7 years younger than you are now. And she's like, wow, that didn't even occur to me. Because like
That I
when you're a
bet you, and
kid,
you
they're just adults.
right,
You're
you're
not
all
really.
adults. Yeah, I don't know, what are you, 50? I don't know what you
Yeah.
are.
I mean, they
Yeah.
knew I wasn't like an old guy, but it doesn't click like, hey, this guy's not just like out of college barely. And
Right. But that's kind of nice. I mean, I think a lot of us have a teacher that they always liked or thought of or kind of, and I mean, I have one or two names I could tell you, but I certainly don't know where they are, what they're doing in the world. But now for social media and everything, I mean, like you say, they'll come to shows, they know who you are, where you're up to. Do you think anyone looks at you as that I loved that teacher, or that guy turned me on to social studies, or turned me on to, I don't know, anything?
yeah, I've gotten that from some people before, like even just like, or just even if it wasn't like, oh, I became a social studies teacher because of you, just like, oh, I still remember 7th grade social studies. I remember this. You told us this.
Yeah.
I remember the day you told us this story. Sometimes it's like something random you told them that has nothing to do with like curriculum, but I remember the day you played the Jerky Boys for us in class. It was
Yeah.
like,
You
uh,
introduced me to Adam Sandler.
yeah, like just stuff like that. But it is funny, like what they remember, or yeah, you get some nice. I was organizing my closet and packing some stuff up, and I have a box of like cards and notes and stuff I got from kids over the years, and so it was neat to reread them and some stuff. Like I never
Yeah.
liked social studies till this year, and things like that. Or
Yeah, that is nice. What is we will won't keep you, but I wanted, is there any stories you have, any, the best student, the worst student, your best or worst part of being a teacher, anything that we should know?
here's the funniest thing a kid ever said. When I've been thinking about this leading up to this. I was like, I mean, I taught 9 years, and the overabundance of like really nice kids. You have kids with issues and stuff, and
Right.
they're 12, 13-year-old kids, but overall, like a nice school district with really good kids and good families. And but there was one kid, this kid Matt Christo, who I'm Facebook friends with. He still brings this up. So he'd be in his late 20s now. The funniest kid I ever met in my life. Like had an adult sense of humor at 13, like really.
That's awesome.
So speaking of NYPD Blue, one day, like I got the kids doing group work, and I'm kind of just walking around chatting with them a little bit, and just whatever. And I just joking around, I said, anybody catch NYPD Blue last night? I missed it. I want to know what happened. Just being silly.
Right.
And this kid, without missing a beat, goes, they had a DOA down by the water. This is what he said. They had a DOA down by the water. She was floating in a barrel. They wound up finding the guy. It looks like he greased her in the warehouse. and then stuffed her in a barrel and dumped her in the water. He almost got away with it, but they tripped him up and got him to confess at the end. Right? So I just stare at him for a second. I go, seriously? And he goes, again, without missing a beat, no, I've never seen the show.
That's priceless.
And I almost pissed myself. I laughed so hard, like could not stop laughing. People were coming, teachers were coming from other rooms to like see what was happening, why I was laughing so hard. And I'm like I was like, I'll tell you at lunch. I can't even begin to do this justice right now.
That
like
a
a 13-year-old,
13.
like just to say DOA, greased her in the warehouse, and then to so deadpan in such perfect comedic delivery. Go, no, never seen the show.
Nah, no clue what you're talking. You're right. Not only adult humor, but like smart, nuanced.
Well done, really well done. Like,
you and I had to have a tough time writing a joke that good.
Yeah.
Well, Mikey, I can't thank you enough for your time, man. It's so good to talk to you, and thanks for sharing some of the backstory of the great
fun,
Mike
man.
Speirs. And we'll catch you soon, hopefully in person, man. That would be great.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'm going to give you a big hug as soon as this quarantine is over.
Can't wait, with gloves and a mask.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk to you later, man.
Take it easy, buddy.